So we have a bunch of birds in our chicken coop, and not chicken birds like a barn swallow or a sparrow or something, and it's high time they get out of there for a couple of reasons. So today I'm gonna try and get rid of them using a very simple trick, using some twine and some CDs. We're gonna see if this works to get these birds out of my coop. I'm Kelsey from roughandtumblefarmhouse.com, where every single week I share stories about farming, family food, and fortitude here on our 5-acre homestead in northern Minnesota. So I've been wanting to get rid of these birds for a while now, and our chicken coop isn't super bird tight in terms of keeping birds like this out of it. We've got kind of a loft area that right now has a little door that unfortunately blew off during the winter, and so I think it's been particularly bad this year because of that. They go in through the top part and then they can get down through the rafters into the main part of our chicken coop. And reasons why you do not want birds in your chicken coop: for one, they're just obnoxious. They swoop at you like it's some sort of Hitchcock film, and they poop all over everything, and they also will eat your chicken feed. So I don't know if you have bird feeders at all, like in your front yard or something for birds for the fun of it, but we do, and after about 2 days, it's insane how much they've eaten that feed down. So it's really impressive how much food wild birds can eat, and we're already paying a lot of money to feed our chickens transitional feed, and so I do not want wild birds eating all that feed. Another reason why it's really important to not have wild birds in your chicken coop is because they can be a biosecurity risk, which is just a fancy way of saying they can bring diseases into your coop and to your birds. So if you've watched this channel, a few years ago we had lice in our chicken coop. Our chickens were all very healthy when we got them, and a very likely reason of how they got lice is that it was brought in from the wild birds and got in their feathers, and then it's a whole to-do trying to naturally get rid of lice in your chicken coop. So it'd be better if we could just avoid that in general. Another thing is I am filming this in the spring of 2022, and unfortunately avian influenza is something that is on the rise right now and is a big issue for the United States, and so wild birds can also transmit that from backyard flock to backyard flock, and so it's really important that we get these birds out of there this year. So what I am doing, this is something that I have seen on the internet before as a way of getting rid of birds or keeping birds out, is putting some old CDs onto a piece of twine. So we have twine in ready supply because we feed small squares to our animals, and then just some old scratch CDs if you have them. I happen to still have a stack of burnable CDs because I never get rid of anything, and I was born in the late 80s, and what do you do? So I'm too lazy to go dig out my car for some because it's snowing outside. I can show you here in the middle of April, which I'm so tired of it. But anyway, so I'm gonna go hang these in the coop, and the idea is that they spin around and the light like that freaks the birds out and they don't stay. And from what I've read, it can have some pretty fast results. Some people say that the birds leave right away and don't come back. So it is Wednesday. I won't have time until tonight probably to get these hung up in the coop. Our coop has sort of like 4 different sections and then kind of a main little alleyway going down the middle. So I'm planning on hanging a CD in each of the sections and one in the main alleyway. And then we'll leave them for a day and we'll check back in on Friday and see how they look. So I'll show you here putting them up in our coop, and we will check back in and see how it worked. All right, moment of truth here. The CDs have been in there for about a day and a half, and normally when I open the chicken coop, I'm set upon by a flock of birds flying out the door, so we'll see what happens. Nope, definitely still some birds in here. Not as many as usual, I will say that, and they all seem to be hanging out in this one area of the coop. Instead of up here. Well, there was one. Well, mixed results, gang. So what I think I'm going to do is I will just leave them up a little bit longer and see if it makes a difference. Maybe I'll hang a couple more. So it's definitely less birds than it usually is, but there are 100% still birds in the coop. So we'll have to see. So far, I'd say definitely not a confirmed way to get rid of birds in your coop. Well, so it looks like they're congregating in that back part of the coop. So we definitely still have some. Thanks, River. That's River Phoenix. So you can see some up there still. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 of them looks like. So it hasn't gotten rid of all of them. Are you done? But I will say, for heaven's sake, I will say that we do have less birds in there than we had before. But did it 100% eradicate all the birds just hanging the CDs? No, unfortunately it did not. So I think it'll help a lot just if we batten down the hatches a little bit. Like I said, we've got areas where they've been able to get in fairly easily, and so I think just getting rid of that will make a huge difference. And I'll probably keep the CDs for now because, like I said, I think it has made some amount of difference, although not as much as I would have hoped. So there you have it. CDs kind of work to get rid of birds, kind of don't. So is it worth it? I mean, I'd say it's worth giving it a try and see if it makes a difference for your birds. But for us, we're going to have to take some further actions. Gosh, they're loud today. Some further actions to get rid of the birds in our coop. So thank you so much for watching. We always appreciate it. If you like, share, subscribe. You can always find new videos here every single week about farming, family food, and fortitude here at our Rough and Tumble farmhouse.